situation. But we're on the mend, slowly but surely. So, I just wanted to make something very basic today. We're just going to be making breakfast. So I've cleaned my flat this morning, it's been cleaned. And yeah, so we're just going to put the oven on. I was listening to Wes Streeting on BBC Radio 2 or Radio 4, and he was talking about the new women's health strategy, which is fantastic. They're hoping to invest in the NHS to combat medical misogyny. Apparently, according to Wes Streeting, there is a culture of medical misogyny in the NHS. So I'm not imagining things, it's actually there. But like I say, my brother works for the NHS, and they've given him a career, so I don't want to badmouth them. Just I've had some negative experiences. But like I say, we're on the mend. We've combined some private medical testing with public, so it's a work in progress, but we're getting there. So, first what I'm going to do is I'm putting some lentil dal soup onto a hob. So this is Sainsbury's lentil dal soup. I've only literally this week started buying soups because it's just a fabulous way of getting vegetables in, you know. Like, I feel like eating fruit is quite easy. You know, you just have juices, you have smoothies, you have fresh cut up fruit, take an apple, you know, you can have canned fruit, you can have frozen fruit, you can have dried fruit. It's very accessible. But when it comes to vegetables, it's a little bit more difficult to get to have them quickly. And a lot of my memories from before I had car crash in my life, personal life, a few years ago, a lot of my memories are coming back, and so I'm remembering things I used to do at home when I was living with my parents and independently, mainly with my parents, and at university and out in Paris, where I lived alone abroad for 4 years and had relationships in that time. But a lot of the memories from that time before my personal car crash are coming back to me. So that's great because I'm remembering hold on here. I know that can be for scrambled egg, and then this one can be for lentil dal soup. Yeah, I'm remembering all about how to have a healthy diet. But we're very much still trying to work out on a weekly basis how can we get some good quality ready meals just at the moment, just while I'm on this fitness journey. I don't have much fitness and don't have much energy because of that. A few good quality ready meals. They should only really be good quality, to be honest, but budget is an issue at the moment. Combining it with like the soups and the homemade soups and the homemade meals, so like the pasta dishes I was making before I discovered the wonders of pre-packaged meals, with buying in fresh fruit, having in our smoothies, making our smoothies in the blender, and you sort of combine prepared food with making your own, and then you add it all together and you've got like a weekly, meal plan sort of schedule. But anyway, for now I'm going to light this nutmeg home sweet clementine scented candle. I'm gonna have to close the window because it's very windy in here, but I think I got this from Sainsbury's, reduced, so we'll light that just to give the aroma, the kitchen a nice aroma. I might take this bottle down just in case it's a safety hazard. And then I thought, I went to the corner shop yesterday and I bought some of this Jack's Fresh Linen Odour Eliminating Room Fragrance. So I'll give some really spits of that. Oh, that's lovely. I always feel like air freshener brings me back to my senses, which is wonderful. Makes me more present, mindful, etc. Right, so next up want to melt the butter for the eggs. So I went to the corner shop yesterday and I got these 6 free-range eggs. So we're just going to get one of the butter. Really, you could be using the olive oil spray here. I think you probably could get away with it, but I'm a fan of Sourdough Scrambled Eggs. And this is the first meal of the day for me. This is the first thing I'm eating. This is my lovely help cleaner personal assistant, professional mother woman person. It's very nice. She's been helping me clean for 3 hours this morning, so like I say, finding her, so far so good. I've only done a few cleans, but I've been like sort of interviewing cleaners for about 8 or 9 months, and it's been a lot of trial and error. I think I've had about 6 before her, and I landed on, I won't give you her name because I don't know if she got that. I mean, not that you'd be able to find her, but anyway, she's very lovely and like very professional and does a really good job of cleaning, which was the main thing I was looking for. Like at the beginning I had one of a male cleaner, and he was here for a good chunk of time, about 3 maybe 4 months. And I actually needed what he could provide at the time, which was, as you could say, a bit extra. He was like talking to me, like, you know, we were developing a relationship with one another, very much a verbal one. And with this cleaner, it's not so much that way at all. I don't think she actually speaks English, but like she's very clearly very experienced in the actual cleaning, whereas the cleaner I had for about 3 months before this one, he was an English speaker, and like really nice, but didn't clear my spiders for me. So after about 3 months, because of that reason, I had to stop booking him and obviously paying him more. And then this other man came and he's on my YouTube channel and he cleaned the spiders for me, which was amazing, but he just did a really great job. And then I was just still like looking for the right thing I needed, and that changed as time went on. And like they were all very good, like I had a couple of other women, a few other women, and then landed on this current professional who is just really helping me to just feel like I'm living in a dignified manner while suffering from chronic illness, i.e. obesity, and other things too. And so yeah, I just want to recommend really Weekosser. I think it's an algorithm-based app, so as you use it longer, like I've been using the app now for about 8 or 9 months, I think, because I did actually use it once in Holbeck, just a one-off clean. So actually that means it's probably been more like a year, and I think the longer you have it, and the more of the professionals you book through the app, the more experienced they become. Like I used to work as a recruitment consultant, so I find it all very fascinating actually, and it's actually something I do really enjoy, and I kind of maybe want to get back into, because I realise the value of it myself. And like this app is not an app whereby they interview me and then they interview the cleaners and then they match us like a recruitment consultancy. This is just automatic. It's just automatic. They just book the professionals, and there's something quite nice about that actually. And I think it would be more expensive if you were to have that boutique kind of more personalised, tailored service. It would be more expensive, and I need something affordable because I'm a single mom on benefits and I'm long-term unemployed on sick leave. So I just need someone who can do a really good, quick, professional job. At the moment, I needed more than that before. And she is, so it's great. But they've all been great, to be honest. I don't really have any complaints about any of them, apart from my fault really with one of them. I was in a rush when she was arriving, and I accidentally spilled some paint on the floor in the bathroom, and I was hoping she'd clear it up, but she didn't. And then what ended up happening is that I ended up painting, because I was going through a lot of stress. I was suffering from cystitis, so I ended up painting the floor, which was a small nightmare. And like I just last week removed the paint, but there's still a lot left on. I have to like buy another pot of paint remover, mix solution and then go back around with a scalpel to get it off, but it's manageable and it's doable. Right, we need to whisk it because we're getting distracted here. So yeah, so I found it really helpful. There's free marketing for them. I thought given I did them for about a year, it might be a professional time to recommend them to anyone else. I actually saw the company advertised on the London Overground in London, which is like the most multicultural, diverse city in the world. So I thought I'd give it a shot, and I did, and I've been impressed. I mean, obviously, like they can help themselves to anything in the kitchen. If they want to chat to me, they can, but this one doesn't. Nobody she wants to. She just wants to be in and out, which I absolutely respect completely, and it suits me fine. But yeah, it's just really a kind of interesting little help really, and I don't really see it any difference booking a massage or booking someone to come around and do your hair. For me it's just a service I need desperately, a basic one, the only one I can afford, and so that's the story there. Also like I'm trying to do this flat up at the moment. I'm trying to do the flat up, so I've made some really good progress, but I've actually so for the last few weeks of having this cleaner, I've not slept the night before. I think partly anxiety, because I don't know her nerves, also just generally having problems and not being very relaxed. But I managed to sleep last night, so when the doorbell rang I woke up, ran down the stairs. I can't remember what I was saying now, but I think it was quite nice. But yeah, so that's the story there, and I just thought I've been monitoring my nicotine quitting journey on the NHS Stop Smoking app, and I'm about 5 months on the app. And then I was once just before Christmas where I had a couple of days of vaping. So in terms of being completely clean of nicotine, and I have not drunk alcohol since about May 2024. So it's been nearly 2 years I've been completely clean from alcohol, and then it's been about 4.5 months since I've been completely clean of nicotine. And then since being on the prescribed drugs, I came off those in about May 2023, so it's been about 3 years that I've been off prescribed drugs. So I'm really proud of myself. Not made this journey to health continue. I've been going to the gym a lot, and to be honest, all of this is just to become an adult role model for my son. I want to teach him how to have a healthy diet regimen, how to have a healthy exercise regimen, and just how to lead a healthy life, happy, fit, safe, but also fit lifestyle and strong lifestyle. Because I've kind of realised that, I think I saw it in an Instagram post, the notion of the child being healthy, happy and safe, which kind of at the time for me not feeling very safe, emotionally, physically, spiritually and practically, it resonated, and so that's the kind of phrase I've been using. But more recently I've been, developing my fitness and thinking about life and how my son can be happy in life, and realised that we don't want to just be safe. And I think as a woman, somewhat, but then there are, men who are in wheelchairs and things, and men who've been through war and who have PTSD and who are extremely vulnerable. So I don't like to always say vulnerable woman, but I do feel like sometimes the notion of safety is something that women have to think about somewhat more than most men, in my experience. And I don't want to kind of pass down a culture of fear to my son, that like the world is something to be feared. Like I've had some negative experiences with very, very, very abnormal situations, like for example being kettled when I was 14 at at the National Youth Theatre in Greenwich because of the fact that there were riots in Deptford. Not normal. A few years later, being kettled in a playground in the south of France, either in Toulouse or in Tours, I can't remember, because there was a man shooting outside schools. Not normal. That was when I was a teenager. Then we get a bit older, and I'm in my first year of university, and I narrowly escaped a helicopter crashing into the roof of a pub in Glasgow, where I was literally about to go with my friend, and potentially would have lost my life if we'd have got there half an hour earlier, and we both hadn't have been so tardy and late in our coursework deadlines, we might not still be alive. Again, not a normal event. Creates a culture of fear for myself. Makes me feel like the world is a hostile place to live in. Then we go forward 2 more years, and I'm in Paris, and I'm with my friend Anna, who's a witness, I'm not making this up, and my flatmate at the time, Emily. And then I hear 15 gunshots, and 100 metres down the road, 5 people lost their lives because of the mass shooting in Paris, where 140 young people were killed. 2 days later, I walk down the road, I see blood on the floor outside this cafe, which hadn't been cleaned up, and I'm on my own because everyone else has left the city and I'm too shell-shocked. Again, not normal. A few years after that, my mother gets breast cancer. A few years after that, I have quite a traumatic labour with, episiotomy and incision, a cut, and an assisted front tooth, lots of tearing and things, and best day of my life on some people, but also on a physical standpoint, there are people in surgery who die of shock and infection. I think I'm both. So I'm lucky to be here, but the point I'm trying to make is that I don't want to pass down that culture of fear to my son, that innate sense of fear about the world to my son, but at the same time there is absolutely nothing I can do about these experiences with mass disasters, natural disasters, which have been completely and utterly nothing to do with me in different countries, outside of my remit of control, and anyone normal would have been affected by them. And that's trauma. And I don't think I had nothing to feel guilty about with those traumas, because, to be honest, none of them had anything that I had any level of say in or control over. I didn't tell that, machete-wielding person in the south of France who was threatening school children. Again, there's people in my school who did the French exchange who would be able to be witnesses to say that I'm not making this up. But I didn't tell them to do that, that just happened, and yet I feel like a lot of people who have PTSD are blamed for the symptoms and the way they manifest themselves in their behaviour and in their lives. And I actually think when you look back, I haven't got a criminal record, and I don't really feel like I have anything to be guilty about for having suffered trauma, because actually it's a sign that I was living my life, and I want my son to live his life, and could I have done anything to keep myself safer in those examples I've just given you? No. Absolutely nothing. This is not about relationships or anything like that. There is nothing I could have done in those examples which are seriously traumatic that I could have done anything about, I moved to the centre of Paris. I didn't realise it was going to be a prime hotspot for mass shootings. I didn't know that. I hadn't done anything to change it. So anyway, so what we're doing today for food. I put the salad in the toaster, but it's slightly burnt, which is not ideal. I'm going to turn it around anyway. And then I've got our plate here, and got a knife, we've got a fork here, got our milk. So I'm actually going to make a cup of tea in addition to the orange juice. The reason I wanted to make this video is I don't have the soft cheeses I'd like to use, and I don't have the tomatoes I'd like to add. And I'm meaning to do some research on scrambled egg recipes, because I really want to develop a breakfast I can make every single morning, maybe on a rotation with porridge, but every single morning that is healthy, nutritious, varied and consistent, and just my son and I that I can just do every day, and that's like one meal a day that's home cooked, that I know what's in it, it doesn't have loads of additives. And I've been doing this now for months and it's going really, really well. Like I don't have the usual lovely sauces I'd like, the peri-peri sauces, but I have got this Thai sweet chilli sauce which is delicious. And then I usually grate some cheese over it and have it with a glass of orange juice sometimes, although usually it's just a cup of tea. I think the soup is nearly ready, and then for the last 4 days I've actually not had any eggs, and I keep forgetting to buy them, but what I have had is a stash of soups. So what I've been doing is it's kind of like a dance being in a kitchen. Honestly, it reminds me when I was a chef in Honest Burgers for about 4.5 months in 2021, just before I fell pregnant. You know, you're in the kitchen and like if you're a fully trained chef, you're like flipping burgers over here, then you're like preparing the burger buns. I was preparing the burger buns. So this is what I really, really, really want to like trigger my memory by watching some videos and start making burgers. I'd like stand there in my chef's outfit, my chef's hat, in Honest Burgers, in their lovely London Bridge 2B Street kitchen, and I would be standing there with a stack of burger buns, a stack of fillings, a stack of sauces, I can't really remember what else, and I'd just be responsible for making the buns, and then I'd pass the buns over and they'd put the meat on the buns. I really did quite enjoy it. And the reason I'm making this video is because it's like you're doing quite a lot to think about, even with just a basic recipe that you know by heart, which is scrambled eggs. You know, you've got to remember to keep the right ingredients out and everything like that. So, yeah. But just, you know, it's just a message and a sign that sometimes in life you can keep things simple. You don't have to do things that are very complicated. And at the moment, like I say, I am not yet in my chef era. But what I do want to eventually get to is having about 10 meals that I make on rotation, that I know by heart, that are all absolutely delicious, to make for my son and I, and then not have to rely at all on any pre-packaged meals. But we'll get there. We will get there. We are just taking things slowly at the moment. So, watch this space. I promise you that progress is being made on an exponential level, i.e. my weight. I think that you would agree with me that I'm much slimmer, which I'm really proud of myself for, because it's not easy losing weight, you know. I don't get the recognition for it. I don't get any recognition for it whatsoever, because I don't have a partner, you know, who appreciates my rapidly diminishing physique and compliments me for it. So I don't get the recognition for it, but there's people out there spending thousands on Manjaro and Ozempic, you know, and I'm here, I've lost about 10 kilograms in 5 months. Through natural means, but it's been tough. I've been suffering from cystitis all the time. Still am. So it ain't easy, you know. I'm not sleeping well. I'm not getting enough sleep. I'm not recovering. Nothing I can do about that until I get a doctor who basically puts me on an IV drip, which is what I really do need. I'm not complaining. You know, I'm grateful for healthcare. I know each appointment, you know, with a GP, you'd probably pay £400, maybe £100 for privately. So I'm just getting on with things as fast as I can, really. That's how I do. So yeah, I'm just sort of, you know, ploughing on, getting on with things, and I do feel like they are getting easier now. I'm getting a bit fitter. I'm also working on my posture. Like when you're imagine when I was pregnant, right? I had a belly out here. My bump wasn't large because I had a very strong abdominal core because I was going to the gym. Doing what I'm doing now 5 times a week. Every day after work I'd usually go to the gym, and sometimes even before I started at 8:30, so I'd be in the gym maybe for 7 o'clock. So I had a very strong core, so that's why my bump was small, as well as the fact that I was physically small. But yeah, anyway, it was still, an extra 7 pounds you're carrying for a good few months, and it changes all your muscles. So I realised that it sort of pulled my hips forward, I think. So now I'm trying to walk more like a duck to kind of realign myself. And then also, I've developed more fat on the top trunk of my body, and I'm trying to kind of stabilise, and sometimes I just feel like I'm like a puppet, being pulled around. But it's just part of the journey. It's part of the journey, it's part of the commitment, it's part of healing and growth, and that's just what it is. It's not easy. I think people try and find quick fixes for something like weight loss, and I know because my father's always suffered with a weight problem for years. And yet, despite that being extremely healthy, very fit and strong throughout all of that time, and cooking meals, a few days a week, but losing weight is not easy. And people who manage to, most people don't. People who do, they do deserve some level of praise and admiration for that, I think, because it's really difficult, especially with mitigating circumstances. Anyway, I'm going to just butter this toast now. I don't know if you can see me, but hopefully you can. So this is sourdough bread. We're using Stamford Street own brand Sainsbury's butter, cheapest butter you can get. Probably always now for the rest of my life. I don't think I'm ever going to spend a lot on butter. My parents used to get Le Pack, but I'm not really convinced it's just butter for me, personally. Yeah, so we're going to butter our sourdough. Don't sadly have any soft cheeses to put on it. And I'm not going to use mayonnaise because that's kind of gross with scrap berries, So then what we'll do is we'll just put the lid back onto the butter. So, and then put this in the fridge. And then we will put the eggs, got our eggs here, lovely, cooked eggs. And we'll just maybe use a knife and fork, maybe use a spatula to just gently. This is 2 eggs. I was having 1 for the longest time. Who knows why? Why on earth would you have 1 egg in the morning? It's obviously not going to fill you up, but to be honest, I think I was just suffering from lower abdominal distension and I didn't feel like eating much in the mornings. Now I'm having 2 eggs every morning, which is really good because it's very high in protein and it's really filling me up. It keeps me full throughout the day. Milk in my tea. And we'll put this in the fridge. And then lastly, I'm going to get our lovely home brand Sainsbury's. I've got a Nectar card as well, so I get discounts. And we're just going to grate this over the eggs. I realise I probably shouldn't be doing this. It is adding a lot of extra calories. But I live on my own and I try to bring joy to my life wherever I can. And this is one of the ways I do so. But not too much. We're just going to have a little bit of cheese just to give a bit of extra flavour as well. And like I say, this is the first video. I might actually make a playlist on YouTube titled Breakfast Ideas. And this is Scrambled Eggs' first video. Quite basic. But now we're going to add a little bit of this Thai sweet chilli sauce. Give it a shake. What I would like to add to this, definitely, from the top of my head, is maybe like avocado, tomatoes, maybe some rocket. Nice. And then, like, this sauce is great for now. This is a Kona Thai sweet chilli sauce. I'd like to add a few different sauces too. So yeah, this is it. This is it. Whoever you are, if you're watching this, it might just be one person, but I hope this inspires you to just cook yourself a nice breakfast for your children and yourself and your partner first thing in the morning. Because you're worth it. You are worth cooking healthy food for yourself, and you need to make it happen. If budget is an issue, you need to make it happen. You need to set a budget so that you have enough every month to buy yourself some ingredients to make scrambled egg on toast with a lovely sauce, some vegetables with it, and a bowl of soup. So I don't actually know what my tray is. My tray has most recently disappeared, which is a real pity. My back is really painful, as it always is in the morning, very stiff. I'm hoping to go to the gym later on today. But yeah, so we've got for breakfast today, or rather brunch, scrambled egg with extra mature cheddar cheese, sweet chilli sauce on sourdough bread, with a small glass of orange juice. I used to have very large glasses, but my mother advised me to keep it to a small glass, a bowl of soup, and some tea. You see, somebody is ringing on my doorbell right now, and I don't know who it is, but I do, it's my roof repairers. So my roof repairers are here. I actually forgot they were coming. Let's see if we can still record this. For my modesty. Hello?
Hiya.
Oh, hello. Hi, can you get past the bike?
Windows, yeah, I'm honestly.
There's a bit of a bike there. You can get past it, okay? I need to put the bike hook up, but I haven't got round to it yet, so it's just the bike at the moment that's in the way. Are you here to inspect the roof?
I'm here to measure for new windows.
Oh, you're here for the windows. I can't remember if you were here for the roof or the windows. That's absolutely fine. Yeah, the windows are through here. I haven't yet put the curtains up there because I don't know how to put the curtain rail up yet. I haven't got a drill. But that one's got a curtain rail. And then there's just window in the kitchen and 2 windows in the bedrooms and then 1 window in the bathroom. So yeah.